still go, 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 go.
Knudsen.
What's up, Tursky?
This is Two Guys Talking Golf.
Welcome back, man. Always good to see you.
It's another iPad episode with no microphone, so I apologize to anyone who's complaining about the audio. We know. We're working on the situation. But hopefully you can see me.
I haven't seen too many complaints, to be honest. So I think people are just happy to see your smiling face.
Maybe they're just not listening.
No, they're listening. I looked at the numbers. People are listening.
Okay.
People are out there listening, so we're all right.
Well,
but,
we got a packed episode, but before we get into that, I know you had something that you wanted to say.
Hey, you know what? This episode brought to you by Fujikura and the brand new line of Ventus shafts. 6 different shafts: Ventus, Ventus TR, red, blue, black. And listen, Fujikura shafts have had a couple of incredibly successful years on tour, being the number one brand and having the number one model for both drivers and wood shafts. So last year on tour, 48% of the tournaments won were by a player with a Fujikura driver shaft. So far in the 2022-2023 season, 37% of all driver shafts used on the PGA Tour have been Ventus. So FujikuraGolf.com, go check out the Ventus line for yourself, see which one would fit best in your bag, find a dealer, all that. But yeah, FujikuraGolf.com, and let's get back to a wild what's in the bags.
Did you say that 41% of PGA Tour winners in the last year have won with a Ventus shaft?
Yeah, something like that.
You said it.
Yep. Hey, I'm going by the stats, man. I'm going by the numbers.
Okay, so I doubled up this week. 2 different tournaments.
Wow.
Or tournaments. People always chirp me for how I say tournaments. I think it's
got to be a Jersey thing.
Yeah, I don't know. No, because people in Jersey chirp me too. So I don't know. I don't know who says it or what part of the country. Like, I get it wrong, but no matter where I am, people chirp me about it. Anyway, I went to 2 different professional events. We were at the Cadence Bank Houston Open Memorial Golf Course. I was there with Greg Moore, Golf Direx's legendary tour photographer, the king of what's in the bag.
Yep.
And then I went out to the Charles Schwab Cup Championship, the Champions Tour event. Saw some legends out there, pretty much in my backyard. I do live in Scottsdale. I will not reveal my address or street address on this podcast, but I do live in Scottsdale, so Phoenix Country Club is where the event's at. Pretty close, so it was nice to have a home game. Probably the only reason I actually did double up. I probably would have gone out to the Champions Tour event if it was somewhere else, but being in the backyard, I was excited for it. You know, it's basically their tour championship, so it's a 4-rounder. I was not there for a practice round. I was actually there on tournament day. Trying to get what's in the bags when guys are in like game mode is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But luckily they're like gearheads. I mean, they're into it. They kind of want to show off their unique setup. So it was definitely fun out there talking to some of those guys, seeing what they got in the bag. But we will start with the Houston Open.
Yep.
Now, obviously it's kind of like, not to be offensive, but dead season on the PGA Tour. Just not like super strong fields. The vibe is just that, you know, guys are kind of checked out, burnt out. Kind of the mid-tier type fields, but we still add some action because it is equipment season.
Yeah.
This is the time of year where you start spotting stuff. Guys are testing. Obviously, as we've talked about in previous episodes, guys are coming into that time of the year where they might be winding down with their equipment sponsors. So it's just an interesting time of the year for equipment, even though the fields aren't super strong.
Yeah.
I have about 95 bullet points, so I'm just going to move through this fairly quickly. But
all right,
we'll
give
an update on Justin Rose, because that was kind of the hot topic last week. He dropped those Mira irons, the JR, just with his JR logo, obviously custom Miras that he had worked up at Custom Golf Works,
yeah,
in association with Golf WRX. that's in the United Kingdom, who built those irons up for him. And we saw that he switched back to an M2 2016, so I just wanted to catch up with him to kind of get his thoughts. And pretty much like we guessed it, spot on. He was testing a bunch of different irons throughout the summer. He switched in those Titleist 620s. He originally said that they weren't giving him flyers, and that was kind of the reason that he switched into it. But as it turned out, he was catching flyers, and the grooves were not treating him too well, but he really liked the look of them. So he was like, I wanted to kind of get a best of both worlds type situation. So he hit up Mira after seeing the Adam Scott irons, kind of like we call them. And he said he tasked them with building his own custom set. And he kind of gave, some of the parameters, some of the things that he liked. And what he said was that, like people kind of said in the forums, there was a little bit more offset than they thought there would be. And that's exactly what he said. He was like, when I first got them, they had a little more offset than I wanted or anticipated. But then he went out and tested them. It's like my ball was just flying really straight. And then I would go back to my P730s, because he's always kind of been off and on with those 730s since they've been available, at least, which have definitely less offset. And he was like, yeah, I was missing those right, like straight away. As soon as I went back and forth, like say he was hitting the Miras, and then he goes back for one swing with the TaylorMades, they were going right, and then he would switch back, hit it straight with the Miras. So he seemed pretty happy with those irons, and he said he's rocking with them for now. So it's probably going to be an event by event basis type decision for now, at least. We know Justin Rose with these irons. He's ready to switch at any moment. So he can switch between rounds for all we know. Yeah, go ahead.
It's interesting to think about that with Mira and building these irons for Adam Scott and Justin Rose and like we said a couple weeks ago, like this is probably going to open the floodgates for a lot of free agent pros who are looking for something very specific and are struggling to find it to go and get it custom made. But for Mira, what's in it for them? I mean, yes, like Golf WRX, like you and Greg, and you get these photos and it comes out, but there's no Mira badging anywhere. There's nothing where they can kind of show them off and say, hey, look what we did. So what is in it for them? I mean, are they getting, it'd be interesting to know, are these pros actually paying them something for it? Are they just doing it kind of out of the kindness of their heart? It'd be interesting to hear the deal of what goes on with these irons, because it's not just like Justin Rose called up and said, hey, man, I want a set of, MB101s. Can I just get a set? And they're like, yeah, whatever. Build them and send them off. These take way more work. They start blank. They've got to build them. And there's no Mira logo. So to them, if, you take a picture or Greg takes a picture of them in a bag, there's nothing there to say, hey, these are Mira irons. It's just an interesting dynamic of if these things start showing up more and more and more, what is Mira really getting out of it? They're not selling an iron. If you and I see it, we can't go buy those irons. It's not a marketing fee. It's just interesting.
I think it's the world we kind of created. I mean, they know we're going to talk about it. It almost creates more intrigue when there's only a logo and you don't know who made it. If he just came out with, regular retail stock Mira irons, they probably wouldn't go so crazy on social media. We probably wouldn't write about it as deeply because it's not unique and cool. Then with this, it's kind of like finding the Easter egg. You throw the irons out there with just a logo. Everyone's like, what is that? What is that? And then ultimately they know we're going to uncover it somehow. Yeah. We're going to talk to Justin Rose and see what happened, see why he went with Mira, and it kind of establishes more credibility and brand awareness for Mira, because now we're associating that with that's where the tour guys go to get awesome high-end clubs. And for consumers, they're probably I can't buy exactly what Justin Rose is playing, but I can get close. And if this is the material and this is the manufacturing and engineering that he's going with, or Adam Scott's going with, and they can play whatever they want. Maybe that's what I should go with too. So it makes sense. It's kind of a genius marketing tactic, actually.
In a way. I mean,
it like establishes that ultimate credibility.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. I mean, because in theory, I mean, Mira, if you talk to the weekend golfer who plays once a month, and that's it, they're probably not very familiar with Mira. They're probably never going to go down that road to buy a Mira iron. They're not looking for something that deep in the woods. So, yes, it makes no sense for, say, a TaylorMade or a Callaway or Titleist to do it. It's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to Mira, because the hardcore golfers are going to be the ones who are looking to buy those irons anyway, or wanting a set of those. So you're probably a little right.
I think it gets to the audience they want to get to. I think that's
exactly.
And,
exactly.
It's kind of the world that like Greg Moore and myself and like our company, what we do. We like the cool stuff, and we're going to chase that story. They know that.
Yep.
So, anyway, custom irons aside, kind of on the flip side of things, he went with the M2 2016 driver. I think he threw it in last week. It was still in the bag this week. He did have a ping driver in there that he was testing, but I don't think he had any intention of playing it based on just how he was talking about it. And, he had two drivers in the bag, and I was like, which one are you going with? Because I was shooting photos of his driver and fairway woods, and he was like, not the one in the Marion cover, which was the ping underneath there. Still the M2 2016, and I asked him why. I was like, what's up? Why a 6-year-old driver? And interestingly enough, he says it was one of the last drivers they made without twist face.
Oh.
So not a big fan of twist face, Justin Rose.
Interesting.
It's just like every time I miss it out on the toe, it doesn't gear effect the way, I'm anticipating. Which is kind of what like better players have said about that. They expect one thing from their swing with every driver they've used throughout their lives, and they've gotten so good and so dialed. And then you give them the twist face. It makes me wonder, like, do pros have custom faces that aren't twist faces and they just say twist face on them? And if so, why wouldn't Justin Rose just get that treatment? And if they don't, then it makes sense. Just go to something before the twist face. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when twist face first came out, and there was a ton of talk in the Golf to VRX forums about that. How yes, it's for the helpful for the amateur player and all that, but and I think the rumbling was there were some pros complaining or voicing a difference in how the driver performed for them. And there were some rumors that they just laser etched twist face on there, and it wasn't there or whatever. I don't think TaylorMade ever came out and said they had any type of tour prototype. I don't think any. I think if that did happen, you would have had to see it on the USGA conforming list, because it would be a different driver. And I don't ever remember seeing.
That's a good point.
A Sim V2 or something like that. I don't remember seeing that. And then this actually kind of cements it. Like, if there was probably a Stealth or a Sim or a Sim 2 or whatever that didn't have it, Rose would probably be playing it. I mean, he was a TaylorMade guy for so long that he's still got tons of connections there. I mean, if there was a different faced version of those drivers, he'd probably have it in the bag.
That's probably the best proof against the argument that there's tour guys playing without a twist face. Because why wouldn't J Rose just go to that if he didn't like it? He did have a Hogan Apex 2 iron.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got that. It was in the bag on Tuesday, not on Wednesday. So I didn't talk to him Tuesday. I talked to him Wednesday, but Greg talked to him Tuesday. And I guess he said he was legitimately like testing it out and trying it because he really likes the look. My feeling is that the 2 iron was probably a little aggressive, like that's some pretty old technology to have in a quote unquote driving iron. But apparently he's trying to track down like a full set of Hogan Apex irons to legitimately test.
Really? Because he had
that
two.
Would be huge if that happened.
Yeah, because it was the old Apex Plus, which was, I think the Apex Plus, that there might have been a little channel behind that. There's kind of like a rounded section of like muscle there, and I think there was potentially a little groove. I don't know 100%. I remember those irons being around. I just don't remember exacts on them. But I'll tell you what, the Hogan Apex stuff, the Hogan Apex Pluses, all that back then, were super soft. They had great feel to them. Like you said, that's a lot of club down a 2-iron.
It's just really cool that he's even considering it and that it popped up in the bag even for a brief moment. So I'm keeping an eye on Rose going forward. I think he's going to do some wild stuff. And then he also switched his putting grip last week. So he's doing all sorts of tinkering.
Jeez.
He went back to a more conventional putting grip. It's not like the exact reverse overlap that, Tiger Woods made popular. I don't think he was the first one to have that traditional style grip, but he certainly made it popular. It's more of like a left, so the index finger of your left hand kind of runs down the putter grip so that your thumbs almost come together. He was describing it as like almost a 2 thumbs grip that Fitzpatrick has, Matt Wallace has. There was a couple other English guys, and he was like, I guess it's a UK thing. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. All you guys do grip it like that. But he was basically saying with the claw, his stroke was getting a little bit too linear, he called it. So like a little bit too straight back, straight through, and he wanted a little more shape on it, which he was getting with the conventional style. He said he putted pretty well last week. I don't know how he played today. We do record this podcast on a Thursday, so I believe they're through the first round. I don't know how he played.
Yeah, I haven't looked today.
This is an interesting segment. I just haven't looked at the leaderboard. I just got back from the Champions Tour event today. But yeah, a lot of action from Justin Rose in the gear world. Continuing from last week into this week.
Just love it.
Yeah, you gotta love that. Okay, so Justin Rose done. Let's keep going. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his first name. I feel bad. It's either Callum or Calum Taryn. He's the tour player who plays the all black Titleist irons, like a super mixed set, but all of them are all black. Super cool setup. Definitely go into the forums, check out his golf bag. But we're going to be talking about his shoes real quick. So Greg comes up to me. He's like, I don't know. He was walking on the sidewalk, and you could hear soft spikes in his left and metal spikes in his right. So I don't know what's going on, but you got to talk to him. So I talked to him briefly, and yeah, he puts metal spikes in his front 5 spike slots on his right shoe, and everything else is soft spikes. So I guess he was at TPI with Dr. Greg Rose, and they noticed his right foot was just slipping out, causing all sort of stability issues, and he rips the ball. He was 15th in driving distance last year. I looked it up. 12th in club head speed, so he brings it, and you don't want your right foot slipping out. Like,
no.
In the transition on the downswing, not a good time. So he was having serious slippage issues, and then Dr. Greg Rose at TPI got him going in the right direction with a little dual-soled golf spike. So.
That's... But it's not that... I mean, it's interesting because it's like metal and soft spikes, like mixing the two. Mm-hmm. But remember when Adidas had that shoe, and they made right-handed golfer version, and they made a left-handed golfer version?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that shoe, but Adidas had a shoe that if you were a right-handed golfer, you bought the right-handed, and if you were lefty, they had a totally different pattern on the bottom of the shoe for the lefties because they were trying to enhance traction and all that. So it's not a totally new concept. It is a little new with the combination of metal and soft spikes, but and on the PGA Tour is one of the few places you can still wear metal spikes. So, I don't know of any club that I've run by or anything in the past probably 10, 15 years that allows metal spikes.
Golf spikes is just something that I've never paid attention to, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I'm watching a professional golfer hit shots, I'm not, like, looking down at his spikes, typically. I am a shoe guy. Like, I love the designs and the colorways and the styles, but when it comes to spikes, like, I don't even play in golf spikes typically. I play in the white slip-on Vans. I've played in sneakers for years. Like, I don't like my feet getting caught up. I need my feet to kind of slip out. I do like an intentional left foot slip out. So I just never really wore spikes. Like, I wore classics back in the day before my back got absolutely torched. But now I'm going to be looking at golfer spikes nonstop. Like, he can't be the only one that does this. There has to be a lot of guys who do metal soft combos. So I'm going to go digging. And I might never be able to watch, like, someone swing a club again without only focusing on their spikes and the follow through. So he might have ruined me with that.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're going to be like, was it Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, who was like chasing around guys to try to find the missing diamond in a ring and popping up out of pools and God knows what, just checking out spikes on shoes.
I just pop out of the ground now.
Just like crawl out of the pond.
Over with, I'm just hiding like underneath the first tee and just popping up. And
just a snorkel behind 15 pond and just popping out, crawling onto the green.
Are those metal or soft?
What do you got there?
What kind of spikes you got there? Okay, so enough of that.
All right.
Zach Blair. So we saw Nelly Korda debut a TSR1 a couple months ago, I believe. But we never got like in-hand photos of it. We weren't out on the LPGA Tour, and we haven't been since. So we never really saw this TSR1, and as far as we knew, there was only one. Well, now there's two. Because Zach Blair was testing the TSR1 on Tuesday. He tested it like late in his driving range practice session. And then I caught up with him on Wednesday. He didn't have it in the bag. He said he still had it in the car. He was like, I got to do more testing with it, probably to get like the shaft or loft perfectly dialed. But he said he loved it.
Really?
He said it seemed really nice. The numbers were what he was looking for. And so I guess at some point he played the TSI one. I don't personally recall him playing it, but the way he was talking about it made it sound like he played the TSI one. And he was like, it looks a lot different, but I really, really like it.
Yeah.
We got some in-hand photos this week. If you want to head over the forums and check it out for yourself, it definitely does look different. I compared the side-by-side photos that I had from the TSI one to the TSR one.
Yep.
Definitely a different look. It's almost like less bubbly and game improvement style and a little bit more of a tour shape almost. So if they're able to build a driver that's really forgiving, high launching, very light, and it looks good to like that style of player, I think that really brings the number one model in for more people, and I think it should be in for more people because I would think most golfers should be playing lighter drivers, right? Like you want higher launch and you want to create a little bit more speed for the guys that like they think they bring it fast, but they're under 100 miles per hour or whatever. It's like you might be able to use that boost and actually maximize speed and distance and forgiveness a little bit better. And for guys who like scoff at, oh, I'm not playing the one, like I need to play the three. It's like, well, Zach Blair's a PGA Tour player, so he's kind of good.
Yeah, it was weird. It's interesting because I remember that when TSI 1 came out, it was kind of touted as a driver, like you said, for people who swung under 100 or whatever. They had a kind of a number.
They advertised it as below 90.
Yeah, exactly. They had a number to it.
Yeah.
And I went out and actually took the TSI 1 driver, fairway, and hybrid and put like heavier, extra stiff shafts in them and tried to go hit them because I was like, oh yeah, this would be perfect. I need a little more height, all that. And it was, the driver and the fairway everything was dead left. It was just, it seemed like the TSI had so much draw bias.
Okay.
And like you said, the heads were so light that the swing weight was just all off when you start throwing a really heavy shaft in there.
Makes sense.
like you said, with him testing, he could be messing around with some of the weighting, some of the shaft, all that to try to figure out that that perfect combo. But I wonder what, if Titleist, and we don't know what the TSR1 marketing is going to be, but if the marketing for the TSI was, say under 90 or whatever that number is it like a thinner face? Like, are they is Zach Blair going to have a problem with it if he's bringing it like at 110, 115 all day? Is he going to have longevity issues with driver heads? Like, is he going to bust them up or what? It'll be interesting to see. But like I said, the TSI, it was definitely a lot of left in a lot of those clubs. So, but like you said, the TSR, I mean, the in-hand shots that you guys have, it looks, I mean, if you set it down, you probably wouldn't know that it's not a TSR2.
That's what I'm saying.
It looks really classic.
It has that look like the rest of the lineup.
Yep.
I think they did a good job. Obviously, I didn't hit it yet. There's only 2.
Yeah, and you don't have either one. So.
I would assume that there's more than 2. I'm sure they have a rollout plan. The TSI1, like when the TSI series came out, they dropped the 2 and the 3. I think it was October. And then the TSI1 came out in February.
Yeah, it was like it was kind of like I wouldn't say normal launch, but it was before, it was like super early spring or end of winter.
Yeah, so they staggered that launch. I'm assuming they're going to do something similar again. Maybe they'll drop it even earlier. Maybe it'll be before Christmas. I don't know. I always think that equipment companies should drop before Christmas, but they always drop after. I got to ask someone about that. Wouldn't you think that the best time to drop something is 2 weeks before Christmas?
Heck yeah. Give people a chance to go snag one up for somebody they want or buy their own Christmas gift. Now, the one interesting about this launch, though, is that TSI, I think, you got 2 and 3, and then you got 1, and then 4, I think, was even later, wasn't it? Wasn't 4 the last one out, and that was summer or something like that? Like, that was even later than 1?
I think they, legitimately didn't think that they were going to release the 4.
Yeah, and then this time we get we get 2, 3, and 4 right out of the gate.
Yeah, and I was we're not even going to make you wait. We're giving you this.
Here you
4. Yeah, they're I don't want to hear anything more about the 4. We're giving it to you straight away.
Here it is.
Yeah,
but no, TSI from you guys' photos, it looks really good. So again, it's probably not something that is built for, say, you or I, but it looks good. And I think, like you said, the players who fit into it are going to be really pleased with at least the aesthetics of it for sure.
And then I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this publicly or what the deal is, but didn't you spot something from Titleist in the forums?
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did I?
Maybe a new iron?
Oh, I did see that somebody leaked a T400 iron out there.
Are we allowed to talk about it or what?
I have no idea. Titleist doesn't say anything about it. I have no idea. I actually saw it on Instagram first, and then I jumped into the forums and saw that there was a post that somebody had already made with that photo, and it looks like a kind of a catalog photo. Something that was taken off like a digital catalog or something like that, a screenshot.
Some marketing guy, got cute with the phone picture and leaked it.
Yeah. So I saw. I don't even know. I haven't looked recently for it, but it was there at least a couple weeks ago.
Okay, I have no further takes on it. Just to those listening, it's available.
Yep,
it's on the internet.
It's out there. It's out there. Yeah.
So we'll move right along from that. Caught up with Gary Woodland.
Yeah.
I believe he switched to an Aerojet a couple events ago. CJ Cup, possibly. Yeah. But we got some in-hands this week. He's got the Aerojet, lead tape all over that thing, and it's 6.5 degrees. Nothing you can take it from here.
Absolutely insane, 6.5 degrees. But I mean, these big hitting guys, these guys that bring a ton of speed. It seems like that isn't that uncommon for them. But yeah, it's interesting. It kind of, the one that he has, the Aerojet, is the LS. It has LS stamped on it, much like the LTD XLS that's out this year. 2 movable weights that are pushed forward kind of towards the face on the bottom. So you'll be able to kind of adjust the swing weight as well as kind of have a slight bit of draw and fade bias with those 2 weights. The biggest thing that I think a lot of people are talking about is the face is no longer milled. It doesn't have the infinity milling as the past, I think, 3 generations. I think F9, Speedback.
For a while.
Yeah, they've had at least 3 or 4 generations. They've been milling the. Well, actually, no, they've been milling the face for a while. Yeah, probably since 2016. But
I feel like no one really liked that.
Yeah, I mean the most recent version, I think, in the LTDX was great because the one before it kind of came up over the crown.
Yeah, too high.
And it was really visible.
Very distracting.
But the LTDX I thought looked good. This does not seem to have it, and I don't know if that'll be retail maybe because I know Bryson's
could be 12
head.
prototype.
Yeah, Bryson's head didn't have milling in the LTDX and LS and all that, so who knows, but no milling on it. I think the top looks really good. It's all carbon, basically. I mean, the little bit of titanium near the crown, but it looks really good. I think the shaping is really solid. I mean, it's pretty much traditional Cobra. That's the LS. I'd assume if they're making 1 or 2 more, they maybe be a little bit bigger looking from a dress, but same MyFly adjustable sleeve. And the other thing on it is that it's got a little label that says like 6.5 G CRWN, so like 6.5 gram crown, which is kind of interesting. Like, again, this is a prototype. Like, did they have different crowns that were available? Like they were messing with to try to dial this thing in?
I think that probably just means like they measured it towards the top of the face, like towards the crown.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my guess.
But yeah, overall, again, really good looking driver. Playing a Ventus TR black 8X tipped an inch.
No joke. I can't.
Dude, like I've got the 6X, and at like 104, that thing is like a piece of rebar. Like it just doesn't flex. You can't load it. 8X and tipped an inch.
Gary Woodland
at 44 and 5/8 inches long. So it's not even like, I mean, this thing's got to be so stupid stiff. But I mean, that's Gary. And then he's got the 3-wood as well, which I'm going to assume, again, it doesn't say LS anywhere on it, but it's got the 2 movable weights kind of in the center to slightly forward position. So I'm going to think that it's kind of more of a player's low spin type version. I think the shape on that thing is really good. It looks really classic. You can see just a faint bit of carbon fiber on the crown through the black paint, but it's glossy. I just think it looks really classy, really classic, the fairway wood. So excited to see what Cobra brings out, because the Aerojet stuff, at least from here, looks pretty solid.
And the name is a nice combo of the Aero Burner and the Jet Speed.
Yeah, I mean,
these names make me laugh. Like, it must really be tough to get around some of these trademarks too.
Oh yeah. Like what? I mean, yeah, like Aerojet. I mean, also too, like how many names can you make that like you don't want a name that seems slow. Like you're not going to make one called like the Turtle. So it's got to be like something fast, and like how many fast things are out there? I mean, jets, speed. Whatever, like those things have all been used. So it's like you're just kind of reusing stuff. But yeah, it's the Turtle. How are you hitting that turtle? I'm hitting it pretty good.
That could actually make for a cool looking crown of a driver.
Oh yeah, like all green,
turtle inspired. Yeah, it could just be cosmetic. But yeah, probably not like the smartest marketing. Like our driver's the slowest driver ever, but it looks good.
The other interesting thing, which is a fairway wood that's not new, he's playing a 7 wood that's a Ping G425 Max, which is pretty all fine and good. Like it's fine. He's got a Fujikura Ventus Blue 9X,
casual.
Which okay, but the amount of tipping on that is absolute insanity. So Ping adapters, if you haven't messed with too many clubs and building them, Ping adapters are pretty shallow. Like the shaft doesn't go super deep into them. Mm-hmm. It's only like 1.25 inches or something. It's one of the shortest adapters in terms of how far the tip goes into it. It's one of the shortest out there. And if you don't know the Ventus shafts, down near the tip, they have a little logo that says VeloCore, which is a technology they have in the core or in the tip of the shaft. And it's tipped so much that the E is almost on top of the ferrule on the 7-wood. So that thing must be tipped like 3 inches. It is like, I've never seen a ferrule that close to the E on a VeloCore on any shaft. And this 7-wood, I mean, it's unbelievable. There must be 0 parallel tip section left to even. I mean, I don't know how you could tip it any more than it possibly is.
If it wasn't tipped, imagine how high Gary Woodland would hit a 7-wood.
A 425 max 7-wood. Yeah, but yeah, I've never seen a shaft visibly tipped that much as the right there, which is nuts.
All right, so moving along. If you have a drink, you can pour it out for the SuperStroke traction.
Gone. Well, not yet.
Well, not technically yet, but going forward, traction will be gone. Zenergy is coming in.
Yeah.
I did feel the grip myself. Definitely more pronounced, like, texture on the lower hand. Like the last 3 fingers of the lower hand, it feels like there's a little more grip there. Also, cosmetically, just different designs, looks different, and different colorways as well. There's one that definitely looks like Miami Dolphins, but the blue is a little lighter than Miami Dolphins, as I'm told by Arnie Cunningham, the SuperStroke Tour rep. He said it's actually F1 racing inspired. He said a lot of the F1 racers are kind of going with that really light blue orange colorway. Honestly, I don't watch too much racing, but I'm going to take his word for it on that. And the grips, they definitely look good. I mean, they do what they say. They have a little more grip on it. It's not like they completely overhauled everything. Just kind of enhanced that grip. And then they're dropping the GT from the nomenclature. So instead of like Pistol GT 1.0, Pistol 1.0.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
yeah,
some big changes from SuperStroke. Obviously, you don't want to reinvent everything that you've built the last 10 years or whatever it's been, but some useful changes, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, like I actually just started. I just near the end of the year put a Pistol GT 1.0 on one of my putters and putted really well with it. I was a huge SuperStroke guy, then got away from it a few years ago. Went to something more traditional, a Lambkin deep edge cord, and then for whatever reason, I was like in a Golf Galaxy or something like that, and I was like, I saw it, and I was like, I'm just gonna pick it up. But I do have to say that's the one thing. I'm glad to hear that the texture is getting a little more aggressive, especially in the lower hand, because I'm a guy who sweats like a pig in the dead of summer. Like it's 90 degrees, I'm gonna be soaked. And I do have to say, like, I would like a little more traction or a little more grip on that grip.
Don't say traction. Traction's dead.
Traction's dead. I'd like a little more velocity or what is it called? I want a little more Zenergy out of my SuperStroke grip.
There you go.
So I kind of like to hear that because, like I said, I putted really well with it, and now maybe I'll upgrade to something new when it comes out.
All right, before we get to the legends of the game on the Champions Tour, we just got one more gear topic from the PGA Tour. I'm sure there were more than just one more topic, but I only have one more bullet point, so this is what we're going with. We spotted some new KBS Tour steel iron shafts.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a mystery when Greg first posted them. People were like, what's going on? What is this? I talked to Kim Braley, one of the shaft goats in our industry.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
A well-renowned shaft maker. And basically what he said was 12 years ago when they first came out with the KBS Tour steel iron shaft, he had some feedback where guys were saying that they love the feel, but a little bit too high launching, too high spin.
Yeah, I can see that.
He considered, like at the time, changing it right then and there or a couple of years after. But what he said was, because he's really about fitting, he was definitely stressing fitting when I was talking to him. He wanted to fill out all the weights, all the flexes throughout that whole series so that, when guys or ladies came in to get fit into KBS shafts, he had something for everyone. So he didn't want to go messing around with 2.0, confuse everyone. He was like, let's just have the family be the family. Now he's going to the 2.0. So this is the first 2.0 shaft. Right now it's available to tour players in 120, 125, 130. And his goal here is to get spin and launch just slightly lower, keep that same feel that people like. To do that, I guess he kind of widened the diameter of the butt section. So as of now, that's all the tech info I have. But the point is, he's trying to get flight a little bit more penetrating with the KBS Tour steel shafts.
Yeah, it's interesting because, he's trying to lower spin, and they already have. I guess it's going to be in between KBS Tour and Money Taper, because Money Taper is kind of like a high launch, really low spin shaft, and KBS Tour is typically like a mid launch, kind of mid low spin, mid spin shaft. So it sounds like it's going to be kind of something in between those two. And if you've ever played the Money Taper, if anybody ever has, which I'm calling it that, it's a $-taper, but I call it Money Taper. It's what I've always called it.
I think that's what most people call it. It's generally accepted.
If you've ever played that shaft, it definitely has a little bigger butt diameter, handle diameter in that shaft. Like when you put if you do your standard, say, one layer of tape, put your grip on and all that, it will feel a smidge bigger. I don't know if it feels like it's a full wrap bigger, but it does have just a slightly bigger feel. And I always thought the Money Taper was really good. I thought it was a really great shaft, especially if you pair it up with like a blade type head that has some spin to it. It was really consistent, and it offered a nice higher launch that I typically like. But like you said, you're right. He's looking to have a shaft for everybody. So if people were sitting there and saying, hey, KBS Tour, the feel is great, but I need a little less spin, there you go. You'll have a different version. But it'll be exciting to see. But you're right. You think every time you see KBS Tour on tour, probably 80% of them are C-taper, which is kind of their low launch, low spin shaft. So you don't see you see a few tours on there, but not as many as you used to.
You know who I think would be a pretty big fan of the 2.0s?
Who's that?
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a really bad joke. I'm sorry. Well, bigger butt.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
Not great.
Wow.
I'm disappointed, but once I thought of it, I had to say it. So there was nothing.
The old guy.
I apologize.
The old guy in me. Over my head. Just over my head, the old guy in me.
That's a dad joke if I ever heard one. Okay.
So I should have got it.
Yeah, right. Anyway, let's move on from that one.
All right.
That's on the not top 10 of this podcast. Anyway, Charles Schwab Cup Championship, Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix Country Club. I love going out there. They just have entertaining gear in the bag. I like old stuff. I'm a fan of the old stuff. The new stuff's great. I mean, learning about it, seeing what companies do, seeing how to, get 0.5 extra ball speed. But I love the old stuff. It's nostalgic. It's like, I treat it as collector's items almost, and I love playing with it. So seeing those boys out with all that, it's really cool. There's like 5 really cool bags. So I'll try to go through those right now. Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Yeah.
Did you see his what's in the bag?
Yes.
The most interesting man in the world.
Man in the world.
Of course, has the most interesting fairway wood faces in the world. These things are so dimed out. He's got ping.
Oh.
They're G425s, right?
Yep.
So he's got a 3, a 5, and a 7. It looks like he's hit 1,000,000 shots on the exact center of the face with each of them.
Yeah. Oh. Like you said, fully dimed out. Some of them are a little high. They start creeping into where the paint meets the face.
He's got a couple sky marks on that 7.
Yeah, exactly. That 7's got a few sandy balls that have risen up that face a little bit. But like you said, I mean, the front of the sole, like the rounded section right at the front where the face kind of meets the sole, starts to blend it, is just totally white. It's lost all that black finish. And then the faces, are just straight up, like you said, dimed out. I mean, there are no marks on, like, the toe is completely black. The heel's still a little, it's lost a little finish, but main contact is just dead center. I mean, it's kind of so cool to see, just because you're like, the amount of balls that he hit and how many were just dead center.
Yeah.
It's just impressive. Just flat out impressive. So if you gave me this fairway wood and I hit it for like 2-3 years, whatever it is, it would never look like that. It'd be, the whole face would just be trashed.
The thing that I love about Miguel is that, like, he is who you think he is. Like, we were hanging by the putting green. He comes out. He hasn't hit any balls or hit any putts yet. He comes out. First thing he does, and I didn't get a picture of his watch, I'm sorry, but he takes off his watch, grabs the cigar, lights the cigar, then goes and putts. It's just like, you got to love this guy. And I think he shot 5 under. I was following him for a couple holes out there. He just stripes the ball. He doesn't miss a fairway. He doesn't hit it, obviously, super long, but it's probably like 281 dead center every time. And he even left a couple shots out there. He missed a couple shorties coming in. But he's just really entertaining, dude. He gets the crowd going. Like, he was probably the biggest draw out there. I mean, you got a lot of big names out there, major champions, legends in the game. And it just seems like he really gets the crowd, and most of the people were following him, it felt like.
He's just so, like, he's just that guy who, in a way, you want to be. Like, I want to be that cool. Like, I want to be able to pull off those, like, checkered pants and those just ridiculously cool shoes.
You see that belt, too?
Oh, man, the belt. I don't even know what... I mean, that's some crazy luxury brand. I don't know what it is.
Could be turtle shell.
Could be. Yeah, turtle shell. No, I think it might be ostrich. But, I mean, he's just a classy dude, man. Like, the light yellow shirt, the hair sticking out underneath. I mean, he's just... always has the cigar now. I mean, he's just a cool guy. And I think he's that guy that, like, he just enjoys being out there. And I think he, just has fun. He knows he probably doesn't take it quite as serious as he did when he was playing on, like, the PGA Tour and the European Tour. He can be a little more relaxed. He can have a little fun. He's still out there and, like you said, shoot 5 under. I mean, whatever. But he's just kind of a cool dude. Like, I want to have a beer with him.
Even like Freddie Couples would be like, damn, that dude's cool.
Yeah.
Just an absolute boss. Okay, let's move along to Padraig Harrington with the TaylorMade TP.
Yeah.
58. Did you see that one?
No, that's the one I missed, evidently, because I went through and I was going through all the ones, and that one did not get shared in the forum yet.
Okay, well, I just wanted to give a special shout out to having a wedge that old.
Yeah. Because that's the one with the 2 little grooves in the back, right? Like, they made the illegal one, and then they made, I think it was like the little Z that made it the conforming grooves, like midway through the year or whatever it was back then. Because I was working at a shop when the illegal ones came out, and I remember they were awesome. Everybody had them, and then they made the legal ones, and everybody was like kind of bummed because they didn't chew up balls the same. But
dang,
yes, but I know the wedge well.
I'm allowed to play them. I don't want them.
Yeah, I don't want these legal ones.
Then we had Kirk Triplett, just on like the super old wedge topic, a little theme right there. He still has a Ping Eye 2 wedge in the bag.
Oh, like the OG, not the reissued one.
And I asked him, I was like, why do you still have the Ping Eye 2 in the bag? And he kind of just looked at me like I asked him the most ridiculous question ever. Like, you're just like, I don't know. Like, I've always played it. And that was it. He just kind of kept moving after that. I was like, that's like really well put. Like, why would you change it if you know exactly where the ball is going and you keep the groove sharp enough, and as long as everything's legal, like, if that's what you're used to chipping with, the goal of chipping is to get the ball up and down and know exactly where the ball is going to land and how it's going to release. So I don't know. It was almost like so eloquently put. It was like, why would I change?
I feel I feel like that's still illegal now. I thought like it like the grandfathered time was like 2020 or something like that. Because at the time when they made those things illegal, it was like 2020 so far off. Like I'll never, have that. So it's interesting. I wonder if it, or maybe it isn't 2020. Maybe there's some other date. But that's really interesting that he's still playing the OG one because that thing, ugliest wedge ever.
I'll have to look back at the wedge and analyze it a little bit closer.
Still ugly wedge,
but a classic. And Kirk loved
True,
it. He's been playing it for 25 years. Okay, so let's move into two of the super interesting what's in the bags to me. We'll start with the more boring of the two. Not that it's boring, but Retief Goosen has the most ridiculous, absurd, awesome gearhead putter of all time.
Oh.
How can you describe this putter to the people, Knudsen?
What I'm going to say this putter looks like something that you found at a garage sale, and you were like, you know what? My little nephew, who's 6, needs a putter. And this was in a bin for 50 cents, and it was just beaten to absolute hell. So you took it home, you rubbed a little sandpaper over it, and then you spray painted it black and drew a little white line for an alignment mark down the middle. And that's about the quality of finish it looks like it has. It was a 2-ball at one point.
No longer.
No, like they did something to fill in over the 2-ball shapes. I don't know what they filled it in with. And it's basically an O-Works head, but it's got I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it was O-Works. It was the insert that has a metal mesh on top of the polyurethane or the plastic.
I think they just called it Metal X.
Oh yeah, Metal X. That's what it was. Yeah. So it's a Metal X insert on an O-Works head with what looks to be potentially hot melt put in the back of it. I mean, I don't even know what's going on.
Your take on what you thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like, maybe it's melted lead or something. I mean, it's something that was like melted in there, whether it's hot melt, whether it's like lead, something. It's not lead tape.
It crossed my mind that it could have been silly putty.
Yeah, I mean, it really could have been. I mean,
it gotta look that,
JB Weld
that way, but I do think Retief is like, they used to say that Retief would like go on the truck and grind his own wedges and stuff. I think he's pretty hands-on, and it definitely looks like a custom, like he was at home in his garage messing around type putter. I think it's super cool though.
I mean, I think it's cool for like you said, like the fact that he
putt with.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to putt with the thing at all.
Oh, no,
the paint on the front is all like chipping off. I mean, it's a rough looking putter, I'll tell you that. But if he did the work, that's kind of cool.
I'm assuming that he did. Just based on like the rumors and what I hear from Retief back in the day, I think he was pretty hands on. But anyway, Knudsen, can you please take us through this week's What's in the Bag of the Week?
What's in the bag of the week? And before we get into What's in the Bag of the Week, though, I will just say, Goosen in his bag, I want to know what kind of speed Goosen's bringing, because he's got his driver shaft is a hazardous smoke green, a.k.a. the Hulk, because of how stiff the profile is, in a 60-gram 6.5 TX, Tour X flex shaft. Like, you're talking some major speed to play that bad boy. And I guess he must still just be bringing some heat, because I didn't think he was able to play that kind of shaft in a driver. But hey, I guess I'm wrong.
Hey man, the goose lets it fly off the tee.
That's right. The goose is loose, baby.
Jokes for me, Andrew. You can stop with the jokes now.
The goose is loose. So,
all right, please take us through the What's in the Bag of the Week, because this is one of my favorite bags. Every time I see it, it's completely different and equally interesting every single time. So I did have the pleasure catching up Bernhard Langer.
Langer. Oh, the legend, Bernhard Langer.
Absolutely.
44 wins on the Champions Tour. 44 wins on the Champions Tour.
And I think he
Absolutely
won last
insane.
week, too.
That was his 44th.
Okay.
Because I did a little thing on his watch. He was wearing a Rolex Submariner bluesy. But anyway, so we'll start off with what is one of just the most amazing bags. Driver is an old classic, the Ping G400. Mm-hmm. People still love that club. But a G400, I do have to say it's weird that the ferrule and the tip prep almost looks visible, like he pulled the shaft out of something and put it in a Ping tip to play the G400. The G400 with a graphite design Tour AD IZ6 6X, which is just a classic setup. And then he goes brand new for the 3-wood with the new Ping G430 Max 3-wood with a graphite design Tour AD DI, DI7. And then let's jump back in time because then we're going back to the Adams Idea Pro 18-degree hybrid, like the OG one. 18 degrees with, it was an RT Technologies Midas shaft, which was made back in I tried looking it up when I saw it. It was like early 2000s. It's kind of a stiff butt section, little softer mid, stiff tip. It's like 88 grams, I think, and it averages out. I think that the regular flex may be a little less, whatever. But Midas shaft in the 2 and the 3. So he's got an 18 and a 22 degree. Both with these Midas shafts that haven't been made in forever. Company's website doesn't even exist anymore.
And he's got the degrees sharpied on the sole of the Adams hybrids. I love that.
Yeah. So the 2 is 18, it just says 2 on it, and then the 3 is actually 21 degrees with a 3 written on it. But so good. I mean, those things were awesome, those little hybrids. And then he gets into a 4-iron of a Tour Edge Exotics CBX forged, which is like a few generations old. That's not a new iron. That's a few generations old in the Exotics line. And he's got the back muscle ported out with 3
huge ports,
big weights in there. Yeah, and the one in the toe looks like it's almost just epoxy. Like they took it all the weight out and then shoved it in the other 2 ports because those are like metal slugs.
I think that's what they did.
Yeah, and they're decent size too. Like these aren't like tiny little holes. Like they're ported out. So he's got the 4-iron, the 5-iron's the same way. And the 5-iron, the sole's been ground down. So he's got a totally custom little sole grind on it. They've taken off some bounce. The 6-iron only has 2 weight slugs, but they're both metal filled. And then he gets into an 8 and 9-iron that are artisan blades with a crap ton of offset.
Like Taylor's
just a ton of offset. And they're all blank. They just have the BL for Bernhard Langer stamped on them, and then on the hosel it has, his little serial number, and it says artisan. And then a pitching wedge that's a blade, a Tour Edge Exotics blade that you've never seen before because it's just the BL Proto. And again, a ton of offset for a pitching wedge, and it's a blade. And I've never seen it before in terms of they never made anything like it. And then you get into his wedges. He's got some old Cleveland Customs. I think they were 588 Customs or something like that was the name of them. They're all covered with lead tape.
You can't really tell now, but yeah.
No. And again, a bunch of offset on those too. Like the guy likes offset. Like there's a bunch of offset in those. Tour issue S400s. And then he's got an old spin milled 60 degree, again with a bunch of offset to it. I can't remember that one because the sole is really wide. It's kind of like a low bounce K grind almost, on the bottom of that one. And then the putter, the old trusty 2-ball with the Sharpied line right down the middle. I think he was probably one of those first guys to ever start doing that, and it just caught on.
Yeah.
And for a while, everybody was doing it. You get a little T-square and make a straight line down the
He at least made it
center
popular,
of the balls.
He probably got it from someone at some point, but
yeah,
I think that's who we all attribute that line on the 2-ball to.
Yep. And then for the it's a long putter. but the grip is a split grip that's two just standard like tour velvets.
Just regular golf drive tour velvets.
They just cut a hole in the bottom one so it slides partway down the shaft, and he kind of claw grips the bottom and holds the top little nubby part because they like cut the grip in half and put it on. And I think he's been doing that for forever. I mean, I remember when people first saw that, it had to be 12 years ago or something like that. He's been doing it for a long, long time. But just kind of a Frankenstein together putter that, he's been doing it forever. It works for him. And 44 wins on the Champions Tour. Yeah, you can't argue that it's not working.
Technically 45, because he did just win What's in the Bag of the Week.
That's true. So he did win right there. So it does count. And there is a ton of lead tape on the bottom of that putter. You gotta do me a favor.
Ton. I took a photo where you can see like the back part of the 2-ball, and it looks like it says €70 on it, like written Sharpie. It might not say that, but what else could it be? I think he might have bought this at like a garage sale or something.
Yeah, like it does look like. It does look like the Euro sign and like a 7-0. At first, I thought maybe it was weight, but 570 I feel like would be super, super heavy. It doesn't look like a 4. Yeah, it doesn't look like 470. I think is in the realm of a long putter, but it doesn't look like a 4. But it's definitely a 7-0 after it. So, and there's so much lead tape on the bottom of that thing. It is just crazy. But what's in the bag of the week? Congratulations, Bernhard. That bag is just absolutely, just classic.
He didn't
just
need more Champions Tour wins, but we gave him what's in the bag of the week. You know why? Because he earned it. And he's been earning that he could get it every week. And like every week, if we followed around the Champions Tour every week and we took a what's in the bag every week, it would be something different every week. Yeah. And he would win again.
I would love to know the story behind the irons. Like, I really want to know the story of the porting of it and all that, and what they're trying to accomplish there, because it's really interesting. And it's, like I said, it's an old set of irons. It's not like it's a new set of irons that just came out. Like, these are a couple generations old, and it would just be interesting to see what his thought process behind it is, what they're trying to accomplish with it. But a darn good bag.
I may honestly make the trip back to Phoenix Country Club to try to talk to him. Before the round is not a good time to be talking gear with these guys. Like, they're trying to play in the Tour Championship, but maybe after the round I could just catch up with them, because I want to know too. And I want to know his personal involvement. Like, is he grinding the sole? Is he porting these things? Like, does he even know that's what's going on, or is someone watching him, like, as a fitter or builder, watching him and just figuring out what he needs? I need to know those answers, so I might have to go back and try to get those for next week. And next week, me and Greg will be in Sea Island.
Ooh.
That's kind of,
nice.
The last big event. Obviously, Tiger Woods committed to playing the Hero.
Which is awesome.
And I will be there.
Not really? You're going to be in the Bahamas?
I will be in the Bahamas. I've never been to the Bahamas. I hear they drive on the opposite side of the road there, so I'm a little nervous about that one.
Oh.
I don't even know if that's true. That's just what Greg told me. Maybe he was trying to get in my head.
Messing with you?
Maybe they don't at all. Well, he just wanted me to get nervous, but it worked.
Because I was kind of bummed, because there was some rumor floating around that he was not going to play in it, that he was not going to play his own tournament. I don't know where I read it.
I thought he wasn't going to play either. I was shocked by the news. I was in the media center at Houston Open. They just had the Golf Channel on, and it was like Tiger Woods announced that he's going to play in the Hero. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, okay. I saw it on Twitter. I was just like, oh, I was like, wow. Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. I was like, wow. Because like I said, I heard just shortly before that it was like, he's probably not going to play, whatever. And I was like, that's a bummer to the beginning of the year, because usually we all look forward to watching him play there. Super excited to see that he'll be playing in the Hero. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. Charlie Woods has just been taking over the internet. We don't have to talk about this though. We can just save that for next week. If there's not a lot of content coming out of Sea Island, we can talk about Charlie's golf swing all we want.
Boy is good.
But that'll do it for this week. I thought it was a pretty entertaining gear week, all things considered.
Loved it.
Well,
And we still left a few things on the table. There were still a few things hanging out there.
I know, we got a couple.
We're running out of time.
You always got to keep a couple in the tuck. But
That's right.
It was a pleasure talking about all this gear with you, Knudsen. You gave the gearhead take, as always. We always appreciate. That was Two Guys Talking Golf, and we will see you next week.
Still go.